What's going on, 3 Up, 3 Down Nation? I am back in our first video in our brand new setup with a very simple question. When it comes to the NL Wildcard, who have you got? Braves or Mets? Let's go! At time of recording, each team has 16 games left in their schedule. The Mets have the toughest remaining schedule in all of baseball, with a strength of schedule of a .545 winning percentage, easily the toughest in baseball, because they've got 3 games left in Philadelphia this weekend. Then check it out, they've got home games, 3 with the Nats, 4 also with the Phillies. They've got a huge series late in the season with Atlanta in Truist Park in Atlanta, and they finish with 3 games against the Brewers. Now, that strength of schedule may change a bit because who knows if the Brewers are going to be really playing for anything at that time, or they may be locked into the number 3 seed. In the Atlanta, they're coming in with a middle of the pack strength of schedule remaining at .514. They've got a 4-game series this weekend, though, with the Dodgers wrapping it around all weekend and finishing on Monday. 3 games in Cincinnati, 3 games with the Marlins in Miami. That helps the Braves out a little bit, you would think. 3 with the Mets in Truist, and then the 3 games to finish out the season against Kansas City. And just like the Mets, you don't really know where they're going to be sitting at that time. The Royals may be locked into a playoff spot. They may not. They may be playing for their lives as well. So when it comes to the schedule, it's definitely favoring the Braves. But we haven't really seen that work out so well for the Braves this season. They've been favored all year, but the injury bug has crept in all season long. And the biggest problem for Atlanta right now is scoring runs. No Acuna, no Albies. Olsen is struggling. Riley is hurt. Maybe getting him back, we will see. The Mets are scoring runs and are really producing offensively. And when you go around the diamond, you really have to give the edge offensively to the New York Mets. Francisco Alvarez is outplaying anybody the Braves are putting in at catcher, whether it's Sean Murphy or Travis d'Arnaud. Alvarez is definitely the better offensive catcher at this time. At first base, Pete Alonso is probably outplaying Matt Olson this season. Olson has really struggled. Pete Alonso has had his struggles as well, but I would give the edge to Alonso in that battle. Second base, there's no question at this time. Even with Jeff McNeil breaking his wrist and out for the season, I'm going to favor Jose Iglesias and his experience, especially his defensive abilities, over the young Nick Williams for the Braves. The Braves just have no depth at second base, and they're trying to find anybody to plug a hole at this time. Third base, Mark Vientos is going to outplay anybody Atlanta's got right now because Riley is hurt, and Mark Vientos has had a really good season. When it comes to shortstop, it has to be Francisco Lindor all day, every day. He is head and shoulders better than Orlando Arcia. Francisco Lindor has probably put himself into the number 2 spot in terms of NL MVP race behind Shohei. We'll see if defense is going to matter in that one. Make sure you go check out my video about that topic. When it comes to the outfield, Atlanta does have some nice offensive pieces to try and counteract the Mets. Michael Harris II is definitely a better center fielder than Harrison Bader, both defensively and offensively, although Bader is pretty solid defensively as well. In right field, you're comparing Jorge Soler, who offensively is definitely better at this time in his career than Starling Marte, but Marte is a better base runner and a better outfielder, so a little bit of edge to Atlanta in that case. And in left field, Jared Kelenic has kind of had some ups and downs with the Braves. They would really like him to get hot here at the end of the season, but you compare him to Brandon Nimmo, huge advantage for the Mets when comparing left fielders. And as good as Marcell Ozuna has been for the Braves as their DH, JD Martinez has been pretty solid for the Mets as well. I would favor Ozuna, of course, in this case. And the other guy I want to talk about is Jesse Winker, who's been such an integral part coming off the bench. Sporadic starts for the Mets against righties. He's been really good, and Atlanta really doesn't have that type of player right now coming off the bench. So the bench, in my mind, still favors the Mets. Now, where things really flip is in terms of the pitching staff. Atlanta is the number 2 team in baseball with a .351 team ERA. The Mets come in around 14th, 15th place at .397. And it's the starting rotation in particular that really favors the Braves. And they've gotten a little bit healthier as well. Yes, they're still missing Spencer Strider, but when you're rolling out probable NL Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale, you've still got Charlie Morton, you've still got Max Fried. They hope to get some more starts out of Reynaldo Lopez, and Schwellenbach is still there as the number 5 guy. The Mets just don't have that type of rotation right now, but they do have 6 guys they can really roll out there and hopefully get some length in innings as they go down the stretch run here. Names you know, guys like Quintana, Severino, Manaea, Peterson, guys that have been in the race before. Trevor Megill put in a really nice start in last weekend, and Paul Blackburn looks to get healthy as well and contribute something to this Mets stretch drive. He's a solid starter as well, or maybe a piece out of the bullpen. The bullpens for me are a bit of a wash. The Braves have got a really solid bullpen, but probably not as deep. Raisel Iglesias, Dylan Lee, and Joe Jimenez, 3 guys in their bullpen, all with an ERA under 250. That's a lot better than the Mets, but the Mets bullpen is probably a little bit deeper. When you can roll out Edwin Diaz, Adam Ottavino, Reed Garrett, and Danny Young, the Mets have got 4 guys that can roll out with an ERA under 4. So I would favor the Mets bullpen in terms of length. I would favor the Braves bullpen in terms of quality. So when you really get down to it, I've got a bit of a wash. You have a huge advantage for the Mets offensively at this time. Who would have thought we'd say that at the start of the year? The starting rotation definitely favors the Braves. The bullpen, I'd say, is a bit of a wash. Like I said, it could go both ways. So it really comes down to who you think is going to pull this out in the end. At time of recording, the Mets have a 1-game lead over the Braves. So that is a little thing to talk about and keep in the back of our mind. And the Mets have played the Braves very well this season. So this could be a very interesting series late in the season in Atlanta in Truist. Could go either way. Make sure you're commenting down below who you think is going to pull out this race. For me, I'm going to favor the New York Mets. Early on in the season, I predicted the Braves to go to the World Series, but with all these injuries, I just don't know where they're going to find the offense unless Matt Olson all of a sudden wakes up and carries this team. So yes, I do indeed have the Mets taking that final wild card spot. And look out, they may even get red hot as they have in the second half at times and chase down the Padres or D-backs to finish in the 5th or maybe even 4th place in this wild card race. But when it comes down to things, I have the Braves finishing out of this playoff. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video here on 3 Up, 3 Down. I greatly appreciate all you guys' support. Make sure you're commenting down below who you've got, Braves or Mets. And also comment, how do you like the new setup? We're still working on it. We got to fill in a little bit of gap over here. But we got the Bill Mazeroski. We've got the Warren Spawn. Kevin Pillar, you know Superman's still here, but let me know what you'd love to potentially see in the background here on 3 Up, 3 Down, as well as we try to establish a new long-term setup. Until next time, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate all the love and support you guys have been showing the channel, even when I've been away, so I greatly appreciate all that. Make sure you're subscribed, and until next time, take care, everyone.